Radical.
So I got 5 or 6 minutes here. I'm in the middle of doing some cleaning, so if you hear some clinks or clacks or stuff like that, I'm currently doing some spring cleaning with the one hand and recording with the other hand. And I listened to this upload. I didn't watch it. I listened to it on double speed to try to see if there was any substance whatsoever in this one. It's called Do I Hate Nintendo? Why Do I Hate Nintendo? Or something like that from BeatEmUps. Now, I didn't really focus in on that as much as I thought it was hilarious during the beginning, where he talked about how he was not salty about being dropped by Nintendo. Okay, he supposedly is not salty that he was dropped by Nintendo, but this guy actually goes through and does a search for Nintendo salty in his comment section and then displays that. Now, it doesn't sound like a guy that was salty for being dropped by Nintendo at all. It sure doesn't. Way to correct people there, Woodhawker. So, 2 years ago, we have the video proof of how salty he actually was that he was dropped by Nintendo. He even equated Nintendo to a lover, a partner. So, supposedly this guy was never salty that he was dropped by Nintendo, only we have the video proof. We can go back and actually see that. And he was pretending like he was unclear. You know, kind of like a person going through a breakup that maybe cheats on somebody with their sister, and then you're just shocked. You're just shocked that she breaks up with you after you cheated on her with her sister. In this instance, that would be him, showing people how basically to, mod your computers to play Switch games and whatnot. Basically a tutorial, mods, stuff like that, emulators. A lot of people didn't even know that stuff was possible on computers, but here's Woodhawker, a great Nintendo ambassador, showing people exactly how they can do the mods on his computer. And here's a second thing that I'll zero in on. When he makes the claim that he's not salty that he was dropped by Nintendo, he can't even bring himself to admit that he was dropped by Nintendo. He said it was Gollum. His process. Oh, not that Gollum. That was supposedly Gollum that dropped him, a company that Nintendo hired to do things like, take people off the ambassador program that's using mods and emulators on their YouTube videos. Now, if we're to believe that it was not Nintendo, that's a weird argument to make. Because let's say if you're fired at a place, and it's a chain of restaurants, right? You're fired somewhere. Well, the idea is if you're fired from that, restaurant, then you are doing things that should get you fired. Okay, so are we to believe that, let's say if it wasn't Gollum and it was just Nintendo, Reggie and the gang or whoever is in charge of Nintendo, that if they learned that he was actually showing people how to use ROMs and emulators on his YouTube channel, that he would not get dropped for doing that? It all keeps coming back to that. And I think his feelings got hurt. And he said he lost sleep. Again, a guy that was not supposedly salty about Nintendo dropping him. He said that this, whether it's Nintendo or, Gollum, claimed that he was just passionate enough, or he doesn't have enough passion. And he supposedly said that he lost sleep over that. Yeah, so losing sleep over something like that. Wow. What else? He has this pinned comment where he talks about how he loves all of his audience, loves all of them, and there's some ironic replies, to that. People talking about how we love you, we appreciate you, we support you. It's a one-way street, though. The thing about the support, if any of you don't know much about Woodhawker, he does not love and support his audience in the same way that they love and support him, meaning they literally support this guy. Of course, well, he is an e-beggar. He's one of the worst e-beggars on the platform. He has a Patreon, so there's that. He takes donations, of course. But the weird thing about him is, well, not weird, but more or less disgusting is, he really does it big with the P.O. boxes. And you might say a lot of YouTubers do that, yeah. But what makes Woodhawker, for some of you out there that just are not in the know, what makes Woodhawker one of the worst YouTubers to ever be on this platform and one of the worst e-beggars is an instance a couple years ago. I don't know if he's actually done that since then. A couple years ago, he willingly accepted donations, a lot of game donations from a sick child. I'm not making that up. That actually did happen. He and there's video proof of that, unless he took down the upload. He accepted donations from a sick child, and I don't know what else I can say. That actually, did happen. And I had a series of videos trying to shine a light on Woodhawker and how terrible of a human being he was. One last thing here that I found to be hilarious was where he's talking about how he's called out Nintendo for their greed. And, Nintendo is a greedy company. A lot of companies are greedy. Nintendo has shown their greed at times. But, I think Nintendo and Woodhawker, on a pure concentration of greed, like Nintendo's a greedy company, sure, but there's a lot of people that work at Nintendo. When it comes to concentration of greed, I think BeatEmUps is far more greedy than Nintendo as an entity, okay? Unless every single person that works at Nintendo has YouTube P.O. Box videos where they take in all this stuff and they gush about it, and then not only that, but they have this whole shtick to where they're like, you've got to quit sending me stuff. Please quit sending me stuff. I think it's fair to say that Nintendo nowhere near as greedy as BeatEmUps.